Some of them had their body cam footage on the whole time, and they harassed me until they forced me to do illegal and unlawful things, and then they entered my car. They Well, I wasn't breaking the law and I wasn't committing any crimes, and when somebody tells you to get, you know, who are you when you're not doing anything wrong? Clearly they're not doing the right. Clearly they're not following the law. To me, you know. Yeah, basically, what's your name, your social security number, and that right there is a crime. It's a federal crime. No one should be asking you for your social security number. It's especially and particularly not anybody representing the state or the city and county. But they don't know that. They're not taught that at Richardson University of Law and University of Hawaii. They're taught to literally be a corporation and practice racketeering by paying for a membership license to a private club of corporate fictions that literally run the pedophile elite establishment here. Absolutely. All of it. I mean, because the state, once it comes from the state, remember the state's from the Vatican, right? Vatican City is not in Hawaii, but somehow a lot of the Vatican cities got all over the world, right? And policing is something that is a part of their system, right? Theology behind politics. What a brilliant, what a brilliant psyops. And a lot of people don't understand it that way. They just understand, well, it's legal, so it must be right, right? Yeah, there were other people there. Joe was actually on the phone for most of the call um, until he showed up. My mom showed up with Joe. At the time, my 3-year-old niece was with my mom and Joe, and when I called them and they head back, they let the officers know while we were talking that Joe is coming to pick up the car and that he has a valid driver's license. We told him to give us a citation. I asked them where the sergeant was. They said that the sergeant was underway, so I was just waiting. Nobody was driving off. I told them I had no weapons in the car. Uh, they ordered me out of the car for my driver's license because I wouldn't give them. I even asked them if they would I asked Officer Brown if he would respect my repatriation documents. I don't have a state Hawaii driver's license, and I don't have a Hawaii state's ID because I don't want to contract with the state about any of my copywritten private information. I don't give them consent, right?
Say that again, Andrew. Sorry. All right. What you've done is consented. You've consented. To that.
No, we literally started, like, for me, it started when I came back home to Hawaii, retired as the Bitcoin. 2018 is when I moved home.
Uh, actually, I never thought it would escalate to the point that it did. Um, well,
in
okay,
Hawaii.
hold on. So the escalation, when I'm talking about in this particular case with Calais, um, I never thought it would escalate to that point. I was on the phone. I asked the officers to stand down. I asked them repeatedly over and over to cease and desist from. I was on my way down. I basically told them I'm on my way down to cease and desist from this, and they just continued. They escalated. There was a lack of de-escalation throughout the whole thing, and what we've since seen is they actually premeditatively planned to pull her out of the car, regardless of what was going to happen. They were going to take the car. Didn't matter what happened, how that end. They were just that was their plan. If they had to yank her out of the car, then so be it. That was their plan. Um, so I mean, it should have just been a real simple, Andrew. It should have been simple. It should have been a here's your ticket, here's the citation. Please get this taken care of as soon as you can. Right. Right.
Yeah, it wasn't for injured body. It wasn't for driving without a driver's license. No,
No.
and it wasn't even.
No.
I wasn't even side. It says side. The way. No, it
No.
says it's no none of that. None of that. None of that. Right, which
Considering it.
it's.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, literally, somebody's have to has to make a change. Somebody on 2022, I ran on ending human trafficking and sex trafficking in Hawaii, and as we've seen on the news, more people are getting busted shortly. But the well, and then I served batons, tasers, punching me in the face. Well, not just that. We didn't just serve the mayor of Kauai, but we also served Joe and I served Josh Green. We right. We came back and we actually witnessed somebody else's gubernatorial release at the state capitol, and Joe and I walked over to the attorney general's office, and Ickes signed the paperwork, and we have it all documented and videoed. Like, but that's the reality of everything is we're shaking up the fact that a lot of people have allowed predators to live here and walk amongst us and not take any real measurement against people who like to fuck kids. It's just not appropriate, and it's the exposure through the ministries of what we've done, of how the state's been doing it in and out of the courtroom, is atrocious. Well, Carl, I mean, you got you got caught, Andrew, because you're a dear friend of me and Joe's. You got called that day. Joe called you, and you called the police off 911. And I remember Officer Paluhi going, I'm like, somebody call the cops. And he was laughing in my face. And he was like, we are the cops. Nobody's going to come and help you. And the fact that you did, and, like just all the different layers of harassment and the shit that I endured when I was correcting them for being wrong in all of their little maneuvers. And I mean, literally on their purported body cam footage, they say, Palu asked, what's her human traffic name? I mean, what the? I mean, right there, boom, right. But then on top, like what you were talking about earlier, not only was there no ticket in the discovery for this case brought by the prosecutor's office, there was no signature warrant signed to pull me out beforehand or even after they locked me up for almost 48 hours. Okay, and what they gave me in the jail cell to release me was an unsigned warrant. It's very bad. It's very, very, very bad. And I don't sign it. It says handcuff. It was written by Officer Gaber, and it says no injuries, and then they bring a case against me for assaulting a law officer in the first degree. Dude, their photos that the judge allowed into the trial in October showed that there was no broken skin, no matter how big they blew it up. The other part it also showed was it never actually showed none of their body cam footage showed me biting Officer Brown, and definitely not like how he says on top of his police reports, which they're well, you saw the video. A lot of people haven't seen the video evidence. And then my evidence was suppressed during the trial. And
So
we put on new evidence. Joe or Carl, Carl, what are you thinking? Because you've been on this and you've been, attacked. You've been called a lot of things and told a lot of things. People, the creatures that live in Hawaii, in politics, they all have their feedback and comments. But you've been the power of you.
Yeah. So, oh yes, yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. Actually, I'm sui juris, which is a little different, but yeah, it's self-representation, I guess, and or whatever, however you want to say it. But yeah, they really don't like what I'm doing, and they actually threatened to come. They threatened to come after me for practicing law without a license, but nobody has the balls to put anything in writing yet. And I don't think they will either, because a few years ago I said I'll be happy when you guys make me a defendant. Please make me the defendant, and then we're going to go to top work here. Because well, yeah, there's an investigation, and they you know I they tried to scare me and Calais and Joe. You know, you're you're practicing law without a license. No, no, I'm not. And along with that, the invalidity of the court system since 1972. Actually, I'm using the Constitution, and I'm more lawfully able to practice law in the court than they are. I don't have a license, and I don't need a license.
No, it's okay. Hey, cousin Ed, if you want to just mute out for now, we'll bring you up. Talk story Kuka Kuka with you as well. We're just sharing with everybody
okay,
about the case with the defense team. But you could just mute out for now, and then we'll bring you up and we'll talk about some stuff if you want to
okay,
share your mana'o. Great. If not, that's okay too. But we appreciate having you on the call today. Thank you so much for
okay,
joining us.
okay.
Yeah,
He saw the videos that I had of my own from the very. He saw the videos on May 10th
yeah,
that I had filmed from my mobile device from what I had. Him and him and Pikachu. Him and Pikachu. They both saw it.
yeah. And
Yep.
Yeah, I watched the videos, and I didn't have a lot of the details. I just watched the videos, and I knew very little about it. And then we met after I watched them all day, and I something was missing, and it finally dawned on me, and I told Joe and Clay that was a paid hit. Somebody paid HPD to do that, and I still believe that. I can't prove it yet, but I believe it. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. This is a
And
comedy show,
I'm
right?
not
This is a
suicidal.
comedy
I'm not
channel?
suicidal.
No, no. Yes. Yes. Yeah. So yeah, I'm waiting to become a defendant because then I'm going to really unload. Because then I can every case that I filed over the last 6 years, I can link them all together. It's like I think it's 40 cases or something. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you,
Um.
you know, I mean, right, 5'4", Chinese, 220-pound female sitting in a Mercedes in, you know, well, I am, you know. Hey, you know what's the worst of it is? The worst of it is watching your own Hawaiian people do it to you. You know, it's one thing to see your own Hawaiian people doing it to other people, but this Pa'alui tells his sergeant at one point, "Oh yeah, it's just Hawaiian kind stuff." Like what? Like what? So now you're telling me it was a hate crime too? Like there, you know, it's so bad. It's so bad. It's so bad. And so like now we're to the point where yes, Joe, do you want to kind of break it down? We filed
Yeah,
motions.
I was
So
just going to say that.
yeah, why don't we talk about what happened on what was supposed to happen um you know on January 15th, what the the prosecutor's office did on 2 days before, and then what happened after that and since. Maybe that you can help the audience understand that scope as of
So,
the last kind of like 3 months before February 5th.
so basically, Andrew, this is the realm of you can't make this stuff up. Yeah? They literally have. We've watched them do it before, where they inserted documents, you know, a day before the court. As an example, the prosecutor drops a 239-page report on us. This is in August. Uh, yeah, that kind of stuff. But this is on a Monday morning. You know, we had filed over that weekend. In that case, we filed a judicial
Motion for
notice of
income.
incomplete
Okay.
discovery.
Yep. Yep.
Right? And when we filed that notice, we come in on Monday for an emergency hearing. The next thing you know, the trial is being continued because they said that the judge took it upon himself to file a motion on her behalf to continue the case. The Right, to continue the case, but he filed this motion on behalf of the defendant, and then he said, "Well, the defendant requested it." It's
Kevin
Kevin
Souza.
Souza, all on the record. Can go look it up. I'm not making these things up. Yep. Well, that's part of the problem, Andrew, is they actually have done that. They have gone back, taken the minutes down, reset the minutes back in, added stuff that was not on the record in. I mean, they even
Well, it's according to yeah, it's according to their calendar. No, it really is.
Mhm.
I mean, those can go to ecocure.com and look up my name, right? When she goes, I
Right?
mean, they're gonna find a lot of trillions and dollars in debt spending here in Hawaii. It's really atrocious. It's really, really atrocious. But so uh do you want to break it down further, Joe? Do you want to talk about all the judicial notices that
Well,
we filed, or the motion for acquittal right afterward, or do you want to
sure.
elaborate more on that,
I'm,
those things, those
I'm trying to
points?
get there. You just keep interrupting me. So,
Mm.
so understand that they filed these reports. The judge filed a motion to continue, stating that the defendant requested the motion to continue, and that never happened. Then he turned around and told the time to the defendant so that it wouldn't be told against the prosecutor. Um, Now, at that point, he delayed the court time for 10 weeks. And now we're getting into October. But before that, we had been requesting multiple times to have in all this incomplete discovery. We had requested, for example, we requested dispatch logs. We requested body worn cameras. We requested all of these things from the police department. We requested it from um, prosecuting attorney's office and didn't get it. Well, guess what happens in October? Now, they stated this on the record, that they did not have dispatch logs. And I mean, it was very clear multiple times there are no dispatch logs. We don't not have them. We are done with discovery and we have provided all that we can, only to show up with dispatch logs on October 13th. Now, imagine that. Where did these dispatch logs come from? Well, the story behind it is they went and asked for the dispatch logs, the same ones that we had asked from HPD, and HPD said they didn't have them. Well, prosecuting us, right? Then the prosecuting attorney says, "Oh, they went and asked for them, and they magically appear." But here's the problem with that: they asked for them September 4th. They magically got them from the department office to the prosecuting attorney's office on the 29th of September. She doesn't give it to us until the 13th of September, October, just before we're
Be-
supposed to go into trial.
And what the crazy problem about all of that is Andrew, they're supposed to mail us out all of this stuff. They're supposed to serve me conventionally, the defendant, and they don't. They have not ever conventionally, the prosecutor's office in case 554 have never conventionally served me since the very beginning. Well, obviously, there's a civil lawsuit coming, right? Which they don't want that. But the other part is that we can't even leave any more loose ends tied. We have to do everything to the best of our ability. We have to win the case. We have to apply the law. You know, the nice thing is if you can get a Jeff's account, you can file without having to go into the courthouse and drive in traffic and all of that stuff. But it's literally right now to keep on going and making sure that we have all the facts and the truth on the record because we can take it to the less than Supreme Court of Hawaii, that they're all bar registered licensed attorneys, or we can take it to SCOTUS, you know, and then there's also the international space as well. But you know, we're seeing what's happening here right now. You know, Carl, what is your feedback on that? And then maybe Joe, you chime in right after him about what accountability.
Yeah, the antitrust RICO case. Yeah, I'm taking that. I've got it all set up. That's going to SCOTUS. I got a few more days left, and it's time to file that now. Yeah, timing is everything in the way in the strategy of how this is all going to affect each other and all this and this and this. And yeah, the clock is running, and it's time for that to be filed now. And it and I do use AI once in a while. I take my ideas and run it past AI and see what AI thinks about it. I don't get my ideas from AI. Actually, I correct AI a lot. But when I ran it, AI's been watching what I'm doing, and AI's like, "You're on it. You got it, and that's a great idea." And yeah, and so I'm working with AI, and it likes what I'm doing, and it makes sense. And of course, I have to study, research, and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's the perfect case for SCOTUS. It's the perfect kind of case for SCOTUS because people don't really understand what SCOTUS is. SCOTUS doesn't make laws. Yeah, 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 and SCOTUS is not supposed to be making any laws. They're, they are there to determine if the laws of a municipality or wherever, if they're following their own laws, if they're within constitutional boundaries. They're not there to judge whether if there's a state law and it passes constitutional, check marks, and you don't and you follow it, it's valid. But if it goes against the Constitution, they're going to shoot it back down. No, you didn't. It violates the Constitution. SCOTUS is very misunderstood. The way you approach SCOTUS is with questions. Did they violate this law? Did they violate the Constitution? Did they follow the rules and procedures? And if the rules and procedures are listed and it's properly written and they followed them, there's nothing you can do except for go back and get the law changed. SCOTUS does is not supposed. They weigh heavily on it, but they're not supposed to determine if the law is a good law. Did the people did was the law followed? Were the
Do you think
procedures
the
followed?
Supreme Court that we have today will actually hold the courts in Hawaii accountable for their work?
Yes, because the timing is perfect. Yeah, here a while back, Supreme Court in the United SCOTUS sent a ruling back to Hawaii, less than Supreme Court, and said, no, 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 you can't do that. It violates the Second Amendment. And the less than Supreme Court of Hawaii says, no, we have the law, a spirit law. We're going to ignore your interpretation, and we're not going to do anything. We're gonna stand on it, and that pissed SCOTUS off. So there's a beef going on already between these guys, and I'm just gonna, I guess it's called gaslighting. And I'm gonna I'm gonna dive into it, and the timing's perfect because they're already not getting along. So let's add to it. Let's expose it all.
And you know what, Andrew? What's interesting? You bring up the Supreme Court, Hawaii Supreme Court, within their own structure. right? They have had a precedented case called State versus Reed, and in that case, it was determined that a gentleman that was on trial that he basically had asked for a new counsel, right? He asked to get a new counsel in, retain counsel, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the judge at the time denied the individual a change of counsel. Um, we requested in our case to have a change of counsel, and the judge denied it. Almost verbatim, what the gentleman said in the previous case was exactly what this judge said in our case. And he denied us counsel. Now, if you don't understand that, that is a Sixth Amendment right to have counsel, right? You have the right to obtain counsel. You have the right to obtain your own counsel. And the Hawaii State Supreme Court did support that, and they said that is actually correct and true. And you do have the right to counsel. You do have the right to go out and the due process laws. You do have those things. And if anybody is violating that, you're violating one, your basic due process right, but you're also violating the Constitution and your constitutional rights.
And there's
And
something
that's
called effective counsel as well, right? I think, was it Marbury versus Madison or Strickland versus, I
correct.
forgot the case. But
Correct.
yeah, if
Marbury,
your
Marbury
counsel
versus
sucks and they
Madison.
don't do a good job, you can fire them, and the state has
right,
to give you one that does not suck. I fired about like 4 of them here on Maui once.
right, and you have the right to retain your own, and that's exactly what we did. We filed it with enough time because we realized one thing: she was not going to get a fair trial, no matter what we tried to push, no matter what we tried to do. She was not going to get a fair trial.
As a pro
And
se litigant or as a pro se
right,
defendant.
right,
And the story I'm hearing from a lot of pro se people is that the court officials really seem to have a vendetta against pro se litigants or defendants. And it seems like the chips are stacked against you when you go in that way.
Well, absolutely, they're stacked against you because you don't have a handler that they can control,
Right, the
right?
lawyer is kind of the handler, and I've
Like the
seen the lawyers
private
steamroll their
membership
own
club.
client.
Well, I mean, Andrew, in the state of Hawaii, I spent a lot, I mean, over hundreds of thousands to do the custody case, and I hired attorneys, and it took years and years, and still, the judges in the Kapolei family courts assisted in smuggling my kids away from me while they were here because of fraudulent, uh, you know, documents that were filed in the state by the kid's biological dad. But not only that, they also allowed him to leave without a court order and move to Las Vegas, Nevada in 2024. So like it's they're literally trafficking families away from each other. They're literally doing whatever, just like Officer Gaber said, we can do whatever we want. That's our policy. And, the more and more like I've been working with Carl, the dialogues that Joe and I have had to talk about, like knowing what happened in 1972 and looking at facts versus feelings on this one, it's like the judges don't even there should be no courts for the state and city, and there should be no courts here for them because all they are corporate fictions, right? And there are anti-RICO trusts and racket of foreign agents with interest of keeping Hawaii not improving,
Mm-hmm.
right? Carl, did I get it wrong?
No, you got it right.
And it's all for debt flow. It's not even cash flow anymore. It's just debt flow instruments using people's private information without full disclosure and making them go through a system that finds you guilty before you even get started, whether you have an attorney or whether you're pro se.
Yeah. And yeah, I used to call it cash flow, and I was mistaken because look at the national debt, look at the state debts, and all the money that isn't out there that they're not. There is no value. There is no money. It's all fiat debt. It's debt flow. Our country is running on debt.
Well, and you've actually been documenting how the state of Hawaii has been human trafficking the
The
homeless
homeless, yes.
population, right?
Oh
Somebody was
yeah,
asking
that's
me
big.
about the mechanics of that the other day. How does that work, Carl?
Oh, it's debt. Look at the projects. Look how much the beach cleanups. Look at the amount of debt that they're throwing at that problem, and they they don't really want it to go away. They don't know how to fix it, but it keeps the money flowing through. Well, they're what they call money. It keeps flowing through the debt system, the debt flow, and they get fed. See, what's happened here is the states cannot print money. They have to balance their budget. So they're basically held hostage and prostitute. The, the federal government has to bail them out, which is more debt. It's all debt, debt, debt. And oh, that's right. I was driving with somebody the other day, and there's a 2 lane street or 2 lane road, and there's the bike symbol on the bicycle path symbol right in the middle of the lane. How is that safe for a bike? Oh, it's not. But they can take a picture. Oh, look what we put in this bike lane on this road, and send it to the federal government and get more debt money.
Right, like the speed bumps, so they can
Yeah,
report
yeah,
higher homeless numbers. They ship them in from other
yes,
states. And I keep seeing like there's different populations of homeless in Hawaii or houseless. Houseless
Yeah.
are like the Hawaiians that, Hawaii is their home, so they're not homeless, they're just houseless. And then there's the other kind of like homeless people that I guess had moved here and gone homeless, and they call them chronics. And then there's this other breed of like weird tweaker that's here, especially on Oahu, it sounds like. That like these people are making it look like uh, what is San Francisco or Seattle, like that's how bad it's getting in terms of people defecating on the street, people talking to no one, going around in circles, hallucinating, or what fighting invisible monsters or something. But yeah, it appears to me that I see people hanging out at the drug trafficking places where they're obviously selling something. And you can see there's a guy posted up who's the lookout, the one who's the seller, another one on a bike, and they're tweaking out, driving around really fast. And it's always a different set of people, but in the same places. And I've seen it not only on Maui, but I've seen it when I went with Joe and Calais on Big Island, and I've seen it on Oahu. And these are not the chronics, these are not the houseless. These are like this meth homeless, meth tweaker homeless population that just seems to always change faces, which is very strange to me. Like it's an organized thing. And if I was running the DEA or the FBI, guaranteed these islands are so small that I would know exactly what's going on everywhere. It isn't that
Well,
hard,
well,
folks.
Hawaii became the #1 state for human and child trafficking as of the last 6 months, right?
There's international waters all around. And if you
Right.
pay off the Coast Guard or whoever's on duty that night, I guess that's
Whoever
how
is
they do
working
it.
in whoever's working in the union.
Or whoever's got access to some submarines. Oh, I know some big names that can afford that in this archipelago.
Well, Andrew, when you think about that for a minute, right? Talk about the human trafficking issue, is that you can take a canoe, you can put somebody in a canoe, take them out about 3 miles, get them onto a fishing boat, and then take them out to and they're gone. You'll never see them again. We've had multiple reports, incidents coming in from people that have said they know people that have disappeared. We've seen cases, even Shelby has seen cases talking on the Big Island, where they actually literally put them on. They drove into a lava tube where the water was, the ocean was going in on a dinghy, loaded some people up, and they took them right back out in the ocean, and they were gone. See you later. Hasta bye bye. You know.
Yeah,
So
Shark
it's
Bait.
well, no, they just took them. They were gone wherever they were going, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
They had a buyer.
they had a buyer for them, and they were gone. You know, we personally have experienced where they took our niece out of the hospital. So I asked this question, and I'll get back to that story in a
Kaiser
minute.
Hospital
Kaiser
on
Hospital.
Oahu.
Yeah. where they actually took our niece out of the hospital. She was brand new newborn, took her right out of the hospital. We were fortunate enough to get her back about a week later, but that's still, um, it, So when I asked this question, who is the biggest human trafficker in the state of Hawaii? I say this, and then I say the state of Hawaii is the biggest human trafficker in the state of Hawaii, and people don't believe me. And one of the issues we're having when we have these discussions with people is education, right? People don't believe this is actually happening. So here's a little shameless plug. They have several things going on this year. Several legislative I'm going to say potential bills with regards to human trafficking. So it's a shameless plug. That's good to see their awareness, but again, it's the education level that most people are not even aware, even in Hawaii, that this is an issue. We've had that
But
many many times.
if you wear one of the shirts, right? If you wear one of the shirts, without conviction that people will come up to you. If you were wearing the shirt 4 hours a day and you were out in the public, that somebody would walk up to you and they would have something to share about this topic, or they'll tell
Yep.
you thank you, or they'll, like, that's one of the building awareness about it, because once you see it yourself or you experience or whatever, you can't kind of like undo its happenings, right? You can't like undo it. So it's like you
Yep.
can't have cognitive dissonance about it anymore. And there is and was too much forensic evidence already that the state of Hawaii has been trafficking literally since its existence, but before that too.
So I'm holding up
You
the
know.
End Human Trafficking shirt with your face on it, Kile. And then we got Predator Hunter on the backside. And every time I wear this out in public, it is true. People come up to me and say thank you to me, even though, like, I'm just on the media side of this thing. I'm not the one going in there with the SWAT team to rescue the children, but at least not yet. I would volunteer for that, though, guys. Let me know.
I don't want to give away stuff.
Well, you know what we've also learned is a lot of over the last 2 years of. Oh, go ahead.
Go
What we've
ahead,
Hello.
also
Carl, was
learned.
it?
Oh, because Joe and I have been building the awareness in Hawaii and doing the ministry's work voluntarily for the last 2 years already. And in our own data collection and the people that we've had to sit and listen to and talk with, like, and be here on the ground and not turn a blind eye. We know it was happening.
Yeah. Yeah. And to follow on to that one, Andrew, like I said earlier, so we have actually witnessed. I mean, when we were running our campaign in 2022, we actually witnessed in the Big Island in Hilo, where we saw these three young ladies. They were obviously not from here, and they were hitchhiking on the side of the road trying to get back to wherever they were. I'm going to say they were probably ages 15 to maybe 17, 14 to 17, somewhere in that
Oh,
age
Jesus.
group. And we literally watched a white van, drive,
Oh, are you there, Joe? Can you hear me?
turn on and tap again, ladies. Turn past them. Yep, here. Yep.
Oh, so there's white vans driving around
Hello.
looking for people to scoop up?
You totally broke up, dude.
How's our sound now, Brown
Hello.
Cow? Check it,
Okay.
check.
There we go. There we
Okay,
go.
yeah, I made the
Uh,
mistake of trying to check on the Facebook feed at the same time, and then I guess that made everything go sideways.
ah. Okay. So what was the last thing you heard?
That
The
there are
white
white
van was
vans
going
that
back and
circle
forth.
around, scooping up girls here in Hawaii.
Yeah. So we literally saw them go past the first time, turn around and come back, turn around and go past them again, and at that point, Clay and another friend of ours walked across the street. I happened to be holding signs, and that's why we were in the area where we saw it, and we were doing sign waving campaigns, that kind of fun stuff. And literally they walked across the street and they ended up getting these three girls an Uber ride and that took them home. Right. So that was fortunate that we were able to prevent that little small measure of what would happen. But it could have very easily gone a vastly different way. And you know what was the killer part of this, Andrew, is that right there at the what is that thing called when you in Hilo you have a grandstand, I think is what they called. Was right there in the park was the Democratic convention was going on for the state at that time,
Hmm.
and that was in 2022, and we literally saw that happening right in front of us, and nobody else seemed to be even aware of it. Right, they're
Yeah,
just
everybody's
oblivious to
faces
this
are in
whole
their
action.
phones, or they're afraid to say anything when they see something.
Well, no, they were watching whatever. I'm just saying that the guys that were in the convention. This is literally across the street from them. Not a
Yikes.
single one of them even moved, and it was their ongoing Democratic um, convention at the time, right there at the Hilo bandstand. It was kind of shameful, but that's because they're just not aware. And I say, as a whole, people are not aware of the human trafficking as an issue. They just continue to stick their head in the sand and think it doesn't exist. And that's unfortunate. And that's why we decided, that this is what our campaign was going to be in 2024 was, surely it's not, it doesn't set a boundary of whether you're red or blue or green or yellow or purple or a Democrat, Republican. It's about people, right? It's about people being out there.
Well, it's
If
about the
we're
children.
the children, yeah, yeah.
Their children, they're being sold for organs and adrenochrome and satanic sacrifices, like how do we police our own neighborhoods without having to hire police when, everybody's trying to play the hush hush game over here about the shit that's been going on for a long time? And we're questioning it. We're pushing the conversation and we're finding a lot of people want to be predator hunters. That's definitely something that people want to do because they want the pedophiles out of Hawaii.
Yeah, I mean, if Josh
So
Green isn't going to do his job and the people who are supposed to protect us aren't going to do it, then I guess we need a well organized and what is it? Well organized and regulated militia? Just saying. Just saying.
Well,
Let's be
the
well
good thing about
regulated, folks.
the good thing about
Regulate
Hawaii is
ourselves.
there's a lot more of the people than there is of these little maggots, that infested us with their parasitical
So
ideologies.
it's time to
And,
regulate.
and
We just got to
well, and
regulate.
the other part is, well, a lot of the people don't know either that they have no immunity. Carl, you want to go over that with the people?
Corrupt judges and police have no immunity. Carl Dix,
Well,
Clean House
the
Hawaii, tell us.
governor, the election
Yes.
wasn't, go ahead, Carl.
Yeah. Um, Due to the fact that they are not part of the government, they are a corporate entity which is working for the legislative and executive side, basically as a security blanket or company. Um, they don't have judicial immunity because they're not a branch of the government. So as a corporate, not only do they fall under antitrust, they also have no immunity under the antitrust and RICO because they are
Especially when
not
they're
a.
fraud, right, Carl? Fraud
Yes,
just
yes, oh yeah,
automatically
fraud. Yes,
disqualifies everything, right?
yeah, yeah. They don't have any immunity several different ways. And
Well,
it's even
we're
worse
just
for them
holding
now because
Viditas.
I filed in the Lesson Supreme Court. I told them and I showed them all the evidence. You guys have a problem here. And oh, that's right. Opening day, I distributed papers telling all the legislators, you guys have a problem here. And if they do nothing about it, they're just as guilty. So have fun, boys. I told you what's going on. I showed you what's going on. I gave them all the information. Guess what? I not got a phone call from anybody. And I have a solution, but nobody's going to ask me, are they? They don't want to fix anything. They like the debt flow. That's all they know is debt flow.
Yeah, the whole system is built on a fraud. So what, like BJ Penn said, if
It's
it
built
starts
on
with
a
a lie, it ends
Ponzi
with a lie.
scheme.
What's that,
It's
Clay?
built on a Ponzi scheme, and human farming. The trafficking of living souls in natural bodies being psyops and convinced repeatedly over time that the legal system is the right system where they're at.
And that you're too dumb to be able to use it yourself. So you can only participate if you're really wealthy, and you could pay someone with a fancy certificate that went to school. But
Well, you listen, I don't have a college degree. I've definitely become a multimillionaire more times than once, and I can tell you it's if what they're doing to me, if I have resources or had resources that they continue to suck up away from me in the bar system, in the state system, in the city and county of Hawaii, just for coming home and living here. It's atrocious. Most people don't even make that in 10 years. But I'm one of those people that believe in my value and I can close any deal that I wanted to close. I'm into fintech and blockchain and,
well, when you get the feds
cryptocurrency.
stealing your Bitcoin miners and locking up your partner for 6 years without charging them, I guess that kind of put a cramp in your style. Is Jordan still under house arrest or is he out? Yeah.
He's out, like he's under house arrest. Like he's in a different place, but he has support, he has help. The truth is that that particular company that they went after, and crucified him for, they literally had real equipment. So I'm not too worried about where he's going to become. He knows a lot of famous people. He has a big network. We can share his information just like I share with you, but people can share this information with their other people. They might know 10 friends that have had to deal with police brutality and a cover up. They might, have had to go through the court side of things and have all of these different hiccups. But I mean, there's so much content on the internet now of people who are doing it differently than we were told to comply to doing that. I mean, I look at the record that our defense team has put on the court record and all the things that we have documented to date, the evidence, the facts, the findings, the conclusions of law. And, they're all blaming that Carl's like filing our documents when we know it's just me and Joe.
So, for the folks
Every
that are watching now, how can they help you guys to win this frivolous case from the state against you, saying that you assaulted an officer? Because they're trying to like lock you up and throw away the key, basically, end your life and end your
for
ability
five
to run for
years.
governor, end your ability to stop human trafficking in Hawaii. How can we, the people, help you guys?
Joe, you wanna talk about the ministries and about donations or contributions for the cause, and where people can maybe mail some stuff into or what or the other, and then I'll follow up.
Yes, people can buy the T-shirts here. I'm holding some on Maui, guys. If you want some T-shirts, this goes directly to their ministry.
Yeah,
We
and
have
so
that.
like obviously we all got to help ourselves, and these things do take resources. Obviously, helping spread the word. I mean, if you've got 50 contacts in your phone and you know somebody who might resonate with the story, then if you could share this video with them.
A lady
um,
called me from Ireland after our first podcast, and she described exactly the same system with the Child Protective Services there, acting just like they did with your kids. But yeah, sorry, we asked Joe, and now we got to let Joe tell us what's up, Joe.
Man, you guys have just confused me. um,
Sorry.
I'm all over the place here now. So anyway, yeah, I mean our ministry. There's I think we have the website inhumantrafficking.com or inhumantraffickinghawaii.com. There's also multiple. Let's see. We have our Bitcoin or digital wallets if anybody wants to donate that way. We also have regular donations. You can mail that via check if they want to our PO box, and that's PO Box 30371, Honolulu, Hawaii 96820. There's
Repeat that
also
whole thing again, real slow, please.
it's PO Box 30371, Honolulu, Hawaii, Honolulu, Hawaii, 96820. If they want to mail checks in, we have that way. We have our, again, we have digital wallets for cryptocurrencies. If anybody would like to donate via that means,
Yeah, how do
whether
they get
you
in
can,
touch with you guys easily? Is it Facebook or where?
yeah,
Probably.
go ahead, babe.
I think. Well, I think better that they call 1-808-743-2139 and then leave a voicemail, and then state what the purpose of their call is and how can we reach them, and then we'll follow back out with them that way so that we can have a live person reach out to them and then prompt to the next steps.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's interesting, Andrew. Up to this point in time, so we've gotten some people respond, "Oh, you guys are taking people's money and this or that or this or that," and all. But we've actually, to this point, we've never accepted donations. It's kind of funny. We've been trying to do this on our own with our own resources, and largely to some success we have. But it's time to scale that upwards and make a bigger impact, one in Hawaii, but also a bigger impact, on what we're doing throughout the world. Right? And it's unfortunate that some people want to just be hating. You know, they just hate us for everything. I guess they have people that are obsessed with Calais and I, and they just want to keep on hating on us for whatever reason. They're doing that. Don't know, don't care. Really, don't really bother me. But it's just you'd be surprised at the hate that people have for somebody that's actually, or some people that are actually trying to do something good in the world. You'd be surprised at the amount of hate that comes towards us. Yeah.
Right. It looks like the website's having a little bit issue there. I put a ticker on the screen. How about if
Hey,
we do like your Facebook? I think you guys are most active on Facebook. Is that right?
yeah, they
Uh,
can go to me there. Yeah, I think.
I like not being on big tech social media anymore, so we're not really active on Facebook at all. We're active on direct message. If you,
Okay.
we're
Yeah,
kind
I'm
of
just
like
trying to make it easy
active
for
in
folks
private
to
group
be able to get
chats.
in touch with you. Um, Maybe we give them an email or something. Because I got the little ticker
Sure.
going at the bottom of the screen here, but the website, I loaded it and then it's.
And it's having issues. Okay, we got to
Nope.
go
Oh,
check with
no.
the.
Yeah, you
Yeah, we'll go.
probably been hacked and attacked.
Okay.
Hey,
Thank
what's
you for
new? What's new?
validating that, Andrew. Yeah. You know what? They can send it. Let me think. What email works best, babe? Let me just send it. You know what, Andrew? The best way is to just DM me through Facebook. That's probably the
Okay.
best way to do it right now until we
And
can do
that's
it. Like,
Joe Akana or Joseph Akana for Congress?
um, I- geez, yeah, I think so. I don't even know what my Facebook page is. That tells you how much I check that.
Yeah, I saw
Um,
Nicole posted this live stream on that page of yours
okay.
just today.
Yeah, use that page. Use that page for now,
Okay. So yeah, I
so
just
we can
have
get the
that
website
little
fixed.
ticker at the bottom saying that I'm getting better at this whole podcasting thing here.
Yeah,
Really
Slide.
yeah.
are, Andrew.
If you want to re-give that number again,
808-743-2139.
Wait. 808-743
2139.
2139. Okay, that's in the ticker as well. Text or call?
Text or
um,
call is
text
is
or call.
fine
Text or
for
call.
me.
All right, there we go. And I updated the little ticker.
Tick tick tickety
Tick
tick tick
tickety
tick
tock.
tick.
So you've got another. So you've already been convicted as guilty with a jury that sounds like didn't even have any like native Hawaiians on the jury at all. Definitely no like.
Oh, the prosecutor made sure that she got rid of all of the people that were part Hawaiian, or exuded any Hawaiian. All three of them were gone. Yeah, Carl.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
you
Jenna?
you already told them you don't have a social security number. You're not an American citizen. You're a Hawaiian with corrected status and paperwork, but they still won't let you have a jury of Hawaiians that are on the same page as you. And I mean, wasn't it a generation ago they were like beating your parents or your grandparents if they speak their own language? Was that? It's the same state, right? The same entity.
Yeah,
Huh.
that was back in the right after the overthrow, the initial overthrow, and then of course to that next generation where they prevented. Well, we've heard stories. We don't actually know, but they actually had stories of our ancestors not being able to speak our native language. Yes,
Oh, I've heard
and
multiple reports from like credible people that were elder who said that they saw that with their own eyes.
yep. Well,
So,
and even my dad, to some extent, when he was born in 1939, he was the same thing prevailed, and he was told he can't speak Hawaiian in the house. At school, there were cases where they were actually literally put out of the classroom if they were speaking Olelo in
ooh,
Hawaiian in the classroom. There was even instances of children being separated and forced to kneel on rice for their penance, I guess,
that sounds
because they were
painful.
they were. I'm sorry.
That sounds painful. I've heard of that before. Yeah, it's like little needles stabbing into your knees almost, right? Or
Right. Yep. And so that's how do you get rid of a culture? We're going to get into another issue here in a second, but how do you get rid of a culture? Is you destroy a language, and
how do you
you
get
can
rid of
look back
land
at what
titles?
happened.
Yeah, kill them, marry them, change their language, use
Right.
lasers on their capital and their bloodlines. Does this sound familiar? Anyone?
It sounds like this already took place before.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Hmm.
So those are the stories we hear, right? Um, and like I said, we can get into that whole other issue. But I wanted to wind something else up what you were just talking about a second ago, Andrew. Then we can skip off to that if you don't mind. But it was basically talking about the jury and what the jury was allowed to see.
Hmm.
Um, they touched on that, and basically what happened on in the courtroom is that the prosecutor stated on the record that she had not received discovery. And it's unfortunate because we made sure we put it on the record. In this case, it was docket 81. We had added, refiled it under docket number 190. And then we provided the information to the investigator at the prosecuting attorney's office, September 5th, 8:25 in the morning, 52 days before the trial. And they said they never got it. The judge believed what the prosecutor said, and he denied basically all evidence from being presented at her trial. So,
Let's repeat
Judge
the name of the judge again. We're
Kevin
Judge
gonna
Kevin.
make you
Souza,
famous, brother.
Punch Bowl 777 Punch
So,
Bowl, floor
two,
3. I think it's courtroom 7.
so two things happened over here. So she lied about so we were not able to present our own evidence, right? And in order to defend yourself, you have to properly be able to present evidence. The second thing that happened is that the judge prevented her from having a counsel, right? And I mean that for her Sixth Amendment right to counsel
Yeah, I
in
heard the
Hawaii.
story that the guy went in to like go in the courtroom and they pushed him out. I told him he can't go in, and then he was like dumbfounded, saying like this has never happened in my 20 years as a lawyer or whatever.
Correct.
Huh.
And they denied her the right to counsel. They denied him the right to represent. And what's interesting is there's a state precedented case called Hawaii, a state re where the state Supreme Court actually came in there and said, no, if they request or they retain their own counsel at their own expense, they can come and bring that counsel in, and you have to allow them the time to get ready. See, here's what happens by the judge not allowing the counsel to come in. Or what, as the judge stated on the record, if you are not ready to go today, then I'm denying you access to come in. Of course, no lawyer in his right mind is going to say, I'm ready to go in, right? I just got retained. How could I possibly be ready to go in?
So
And
I
no
want to
lawyer
scoot
will
back
ever
over to
do that.
Carl and ask him if he knows in all of his time studying law, what are the exact crimes Are these criminal offenses that these judicial clowns are committing, Carl?
Yeah, I could argue it both ways. In my mind, see, it's really complicated because intent is, yeah, if the fraud was intentional, that's one thing. But if they didn't even know that there was fraud and they were just part of it and did, they go, well, we're making a lot of money here. Why, why rock the boat? This or this. I'm happy with it. Even though it may not seem right, that's not intent.
So
So
you have to
that's
prove
where it gets
intent
great.
in order to get these guys thrown in prison for what they're clearly
Well,
doing.
no, it's not that clear. See, fraud is nearly impossible to prove in court. Lawyers love fraud because the meter runs constantly. You got to. Fraud is almost impossible to prove in court. Intentional fraud, when you add intentional, it becomes much easier. And I even I had a kind of a somewhat lengthy but fairly brief conversation with Duke Iona. He ran for governor. He was a very prominent politician, and he's a lawyer. And I just asked him a few questions about fraud, and he goes, "Oh yeah, it's good money," and they know that because fraud is, and especially in the system the way it is, if you call it a fraud, yeah, it actually is a system. It's just not a uh,
Well,
government
it's a
system.
system where
It's RICO.
they commit securities fraud violations and aggravated identity theft on you by
Yeah.
issuing um, fake bonds and becoming the trustee to operate and become the fiduciary, appearing as a judge, but really being a banker. But over here, we can't even call them bankers, but they're definitely, they know what they're, a lot of them know what they're doing when they do it. And they know that they get rewarded from doing that behavior.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. They at least have to have some suspicion of it. I mean, these guys do this every day. I don't do it every day, but even I'm like, you know, it, something's wrong here. Why is this? But nobody asks that, especially if you're making the kind of money lawyers do. I mean, why would you? Why would you ask? Hey, this is the way it is. This is the way it works. It's the way it always was. But that don't make it lawful, legal, or any of that, and it's fraud.
Yeah, none of them seem to like to upset the apple cart. They want to be a judge someday, or a DA, or an AG.
Yeah. Well, if you want somebody to shut up, what do? Pay them,
Pay
right?
them and threaten them at the same time, like P. Diddy style.
Oh yeah, like if you say anything or if you do anything, we're going to yank your license and bye money. Well, alleged money.
Oh, if you say anything or do anything, we're gonna take your car, pull you out
We'll
of your
run you
car
out
and
of the
take your
state.
car.
Yeah, yeah.
We're
Or
just
we'll
gonna
set you up and we'll
we're gonna
plant some
bully
stuff in
you
your
and
car,
we're gonna
plant some stuff
bully
on your
you into
computer.
submission.
Yeah, yeah.
We're gonna comply.
Oh, that's kind of like racketeering works, isn't it? Huh, that's
Sure
weird.
is.
It's weird how those two, huh? Maybe that's why I filed antitrust and RICO
Hmm.
because they are the
So,
same.
go ahead, Joe. Was that Joe? Who was that? Okay.
No, I'm the one that said they are the same.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah.
I heard Joe's mic come on. I shut him off a second ago because we were getting some weird feedback coming through his mic. Joe,
Okay.
if you're trying to talk
Yeah.
to us, you have to tap to turn your mic back on. Sorry about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I'm on.
Well,
You guys go ahead because I'm.
yeah.
Go ahead.
And actually, the antitrust and RICO thing, I do have a solution. To go back and redo all the cases since 1972, that's an absurd idea. I mean, it's not even possible. Maybe some, but um, I don't know what they're going to do about it. But moving forward, since the system is already set up, I propose that we have a competing system or association against the bar association, and I'd love to be part of that. And it all be constitutional foundation instead of corporate statutes.
Hmm.
Now there are some that would be I would even though it wouldn't be a branch of the government, at least there's competition because you go into the courthouse. Yeah, they almost laughed at Clay. She said the Constitution, this and this, and the prosecutor object, and the judge goes, "We don't need to talk about the Constitution in here. That has nothing to do with it." And I'm
It's
like,
the supreme law of the land, Jackemeyer.
not in their courthouse, it ain't. Well,
Apparently
actually, it's
not.
our courthouse. It's our courthouse that's been taken over by the mob, the
Yeah, so they
By
racketeering.
the
have,
pirates. They've been
yeah,
taken
try to
over
put
by the
maritime law
pirates.
onto us.
Yeah,
And if you step into that little pirate ship they call a courtroom, right?
yeah.
Then
That's
you're
why
under their
Trump could
jurisdiction.
literally, under
And we,
FM 27-10, the president can have the military or the JAG officers go in and pull these judges, pull the prosecutors, pull the HPD, the sheriffs. They can all come to the table because hello, it's part of the military the kind deoccupation plan.
Hmm.
yeah,
So let's talk about that. The military. I keep hearing about the military. Oopsie daisy. Let me silence that. Sorry, guys. Oh, maybe we should. We got the flying Hawaiian Rick Villarreal here into our live podcast with Joe and Kalea Akana. Rick.
What's up?
Yeah, I'm live right now, brother. He's here on the island of Maui, a very good friend.
You want to call me back when you have moments when you're not dealing with live video or whatever? Or?
Yeah, or if you want to chip in on the podcast, man, just say hi and then show your support for Joe Akana. You remember Joe.
Oh, yeah.
So, are you tracking the story with what's been happening with Joe and Calais?
No,
So, on May 5th, Calais was tased by the police like 4 times.
Who, tased?
Yeah, tased. Calais, she ran for governor.
Some lady, right?
She is Joe's wife.
Oh, was that in Oahu or something like that?
On Oahu. And then subsequently, and Joe was senior Air Force, intelligence officer before, right? Retired now?
Oh, I didn't know they had
So he's been
like that,
witnessing the entire thing play out since the day that they kidnapped her, Honolulu PD, and then everything along the way of the prosecutors, the public pretender's office, everybody.
Who kidnapped her? The police department?
Yeah, the police unlawfully detained her, and
there has to be instructions coming from the body politic, I would think.
Well, and that was after she served Governor Green for crimes against humanity, as well as the mayor of Kauai.
Well, there's motives there, right there. His motive is to try to make their life hard because she's doing her deal. That's horrible. I never know. I don't really follow local politics much. I'm working on the outer rim, you could say. On the outer rim.
Right. Well, I'd love to have you come on the podcast sometimes and mingle with some of our local friends that are on the front lines here because they do overlap a lot.
Are you trying to set up like a Tim Pool Club, group or a Steve Crowder group? A lot of these guys have 2 or 3 guys.
Yeah, kind of like that type of thing. And I'm in talks with a local radio station right now about combining it with a broadcast and online podcast at the same time.
So how are you broadcasting this?
Right now we are using a broadcasting software to simulcast on X.com, Instagram, Rumble, YouTube, and Facebook.
Oh, okay. So we're going to try to build the clientele up so that we can bring the customer acquisition down. I guess a lot of it will be determined by who's going to be paying the bills. as well as
Well,
which type
this
of
podcast today is a Maui Freedom TV pro bono thing to save our necks because I recorded the police on the day that she was tased. I let them know that I was recording the 911 call for public record, and that kind of sent a shockwave through them. And then when they found out who Joe was and his background, then they realized that they tased the wrong woman. And now it's some porky pig like abada 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 abada, like stretching on for months with judicial corruption. And oh yeah, life's like a movie, man. So we're doing this podcast to save our necks. But moving forward in the future, yes, I am interested in doing things that can put some bacon on the table, although bacon is not advised anymore. But yeah, really, Agenda 2030 is rolling out here in Hawaii, policy wise, hardware wise, with the technology. And we, the people of all, we, the peoples, I should say, because I'm not of Hawaii, I'm in Hawaii, but there are the people of Hawaii that are here that seem to
are you
agree on this thing that we need to push back these forces of evil. Go ahead, Rick. Oh,
when I was there? Yeah, can you hear me?
okay, you're back.
Yeah, I'm going through highlight those little dips. Um, so a bunch of questions on this whole thing. Very interesting. I've always complained that there is no controversial newspaper or a controversial way to get information out into the general.
So there is no uncivil beat here in Hawaii.
Yeah, the whole mess with Bruce and Sheila and all that type of stuff. We're all on coconut wireless trying to get it together. So I often thought it would be good to have a kind of like a either Alex Jones and his group or Steve Crowder and his group, and actually find out who in your group, and you'll probably have them on more often. But then you have a of bringing people in, and you eventually get people like Robert Malone, who has totally come full circle finally.
Okay, well we'll see about Mr. Malone, Mr. Doctor. But yeah, I love where your mind is at, and
He was a total fence rider. I mean, I would know. I'm a biochem, and knew it, and also knew if I engaged him too much, it would be very uncomfortable.
so Rick, do you mind going a little bit deeper into your biochem stuff? Because yeah, there's a reason why I answered the phone in the middle of the podcast, guys. Rick is he's somebody that knows some things. Shoot, we're losing you, Rick. Are you there, buddy? And I got feedback from Joe's mic. I'm trying to mute one mic there. Stand by.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. So, Rick, you're a biochem guy, and you've been tracking things on a nationwide level in terms of how the corruption exposure is going, the great noticing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, tell the team here a little bit more about your background.
Robert F. Kennedy, Del Bigtree. That's Robert F. Kennedy, the second most endangered politician. I mean, if, and that's why all this stuff. I'd love to talk and get on a constant, what I would call controversial level, where we can blow the horn.
Yeah, man.
I don't know
Well,
if you're
we're here
ready.
right now.
I don't know
live.
if you're ready for all that. I mean, is it once a week? Is it 3 times a week, Rick?
Slaves is because it's gone on too long without any controversial discussion.
So Calais just asked if you want to do the podcast once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week. What are you into?
So, for instance, for vehicles and get the safety inspection before that, and there was all these Monte Polo, which is also a subsidiary of Monsanto. Most people don't know this, and they were working right next to the dirt road, shooting up tons of dust. And I'm thinking, this is a perfect discussion for a podcast. Why are they doing it at this time of day when they work at nighttime? I get up at 3 in the morning and I'm down to my work at 2:30 in the morning every morning, and they're out there in the fields doing whatever they do. I'll be poisoned, and eventually that will, this is Montana, are gonna, try to disguise. Why are they working?
Shoots, Rick, we're losing you, buddy. Call me back when you're in a signal zone. All right. Yeah, we definitely need to get you in the studio on the show.
Nice meeting
Aloha.
you, Rick. Aloha.
Yeah, so I've been talking to Rick since like 2020, 21 rally days. I met him in person, standing together for our freedom, trying to peacefully petition the local government for an audience so that we could have a town hall. Rick is a super intelligent guy, very, very articulate, has a much better memory than what I've got for names and dates and details and which company moved how much money to where, how it all ties together. He is definitely one of the brightest minds that I know.
Very cool.
So, yeah, we'll be hearing
Well,
more from him. And yeah, and I think that the more like-minded folks that we can gather together, the bigger the target we have on our chests. But that's the name of the game, and we're already in it, and we're in it to win it because we're fighting for our kids, and we don't back down.
well, that's the whole thing, right? The hashtag Kapuna Keiki is something that follows the Akana Ohana, who's a part of the Queen Iconic Ministries, right? And that is what the mission became. It wasn't, once it happened to your kids, then it happened to your sister's kids, then it's happening while you're on campaigning, running for governor, and your significant other and your life partner is running for US Congress. One of the biggest problems that got brought up was the kids. And then when you start talking to the homeless and you start not listening to the TV screen 100% of the time, or the people that you're rubbing shoulders with, that the money is all coming through the same pipeline from, which is how everybody's getting caught right now. And we're in it to win it. And so somebody's got to do it. And, Io Akua has decided on this land, it's us, and a lot of people who we have been able to have dialogues with and conversations with, they too feel very, um, they all know that they have to go to somewhere outside of the state to report to because they don't trust the state. And once you're in that state of mind, you got to step in and you got to say, okay, I want to make a difference. I want to be there during our lifetime and not leave this kuleana for the kiki. And again, that's motive right there, and as much of what we know, statistics, reports, this, that, and the other, with the ministries operating, we're able to continually do discovery. And boy, there's a lot of cross there are a lot of patterns in the behavior system of the system here in Hawaii, and um, a lot of irregularities about how things should operate. But there's a lot of corruption. And people got to ask themselves, do they want to have the people in charge of their government as they're moving into the future and a revolution is happening? Do they want their people who run the government or they vote on for government, do they want them to be pedophiles or support pedophilia or trafficking children? Any person who is conscious is going to say, hell no,
Mm.
you know. So that's how we bring it to people's faces and their awareness, because each and every one of us could do more where we live all around the world. But here in Hawaii, a lot of us where we're at, we know that it's happening. There's lots of cases going on,
So the
and
folks, for the
so
folks that are out there listening, hearing this, please think of Rosa Parks. That just was such a huge story and it changed everything. But in today's media cycle, things like this are getting buried. And I really see Kile as a modern day Hawaiian Rosa Parks who was abused by the system here and who's continuously abused, as we can see.
Yeah, thank you, Andrew, because that's exactly what it is by the state. It's continued trauma, PTSD. You're constantly under duress. It makes you not want to trust anybody. It makes you question everybody who's around you. You know, um, and I use my words. That was the whole thing. And the totality of circumstances, as the Supreme Court just unanimously decided again, not only in April, but just again recently, that the police officers who are on duty that day getting paid to off unlawfully do whatever they were doing to me, they did not follow their policies, rules, procedures, and standards. They did not know constitutional law. They did not attempt to try to de-escalate the situation, and they're wrong. And having people harass you into compliance doesn't it doesn't feel good. I wouldn't want that for anybody's kids. I wouldn't want that for my grandma.
Yeah, I can't imagine having
Mhm.
my tags expired and then having the cops like tase me 4 times
Well, not
and
just tasing. I mean, Andrew, like
drag me out and all of that.
harass me for like almost 30 minutes, enter the vehicle by pulling the window down and opening the car from the inside, without a warrant. All of this is
Right.
happening without a warrant,
So, I mean,
right?
but in their defense, you being a very scary 400-pound Chinese woman, allegedly, obviously you know Kung Fu, and you're telling them that they work for satanic pedophiles and you were filming them. That's very, very offensive and hurtful, right? If you have your phone pointed at public officials while they're on duty,
I mean,
that's
maybe
that's
just their
that's
their
terrible. How could you
egos,
think to
but there
do
was
that?
nothing physical. I didn't get out of the car.
And yeah, you
I
stayed in the
didn't I
car.
didn't
You
try
had a
to attack
cigarette in one
them.
hand. I saw the video from multiple angles. So you're smoking one cigarette here. You're filming some dipshits over here. And, like, how dare you? How could you
Well, and
do that?
well,
We got to
two of
drag
them.
you out.
The
Taser, taser, taser. They
Well, no,
yelled
first
it three times in the video.
before the teaser was come into the left door, come into the left and right door, punch him in the face, put come behind and grab her by the neck, punch her in the face, the other guy also at the same time. Ow, she bit me. To batons all down the left side of my body from Officer Pa'aluhi. And then the female officer, Gaber, was punching me in my rib cage. And again, in his police report, he says he was using perennial strikes. But I was so messed up that I couldn't walk for 3 months. I was in a
Yeah, your
wheelchair.
black eyes wouldn't go away for like months. It was like forever.
Yeah, because they was punching me in my head. And I have two different medical reports to prove that, and me going around and going to the,
Oh,
you
and
know,
tons of
town
photos. Yeah.
halls and,
So for the
this
folks
board.
that this happens to, you can learn from Kaleigh's story, Joe's story, and you can do the same actions that they have taken. And it is a hard road. It is a very
Well, it's
hard
the road.
road. But
It's
if
the road
not
that they
you, then
chose
who?
for
And if
you.
not now, then
They
when?
chose that road for you already. That's the whole thing. Is you got to understand that they chose this road for you because you're a probability. Because these people are still working
Mm.
for the city and county and taking federal funding to operate their occupation Ponzi scam.
So
Okay.
immediately after this abuse, you started filing paperwork asking for their chest cams, right? It's not a FOIA request in Hawaii, it's a UIPA, completely different system here controlled by banksters. Um, so yeah, you started filing the paperwork asking who's on duty, what's the chain of command that day, who made what decisions, who made what calls. Let's see the records of everything. And then the Matrix proceeded to
Well,
crap a
they
brick.
well, they do what they do, right? They obstruct your justice. They obstruct you from getting the information in a timely manner. The police officers say they're keeping the investigation open so they no can talk to you, but they're telling you to go to a bar registered licensed attorney,
And didn't they like
right?
Well,
interrogate you after midnight or something? Like what was that about?
Well, they check me into so they pick me up at like 7:30 or 7:50 in the morning, and then they put it on 5/5/2025. They what they shows in the discovery is that they checked me in at 1 o'clock a.m. on May 6, 2025. That's the only this in the discovery that the prosecutors and the Honolulu Police Department gave us. Where was I for 13 hours? Where was I for 15 hours before they checked me into Baratania?
Hmm. Were you
Right?
able to
They,
play
and they,
that footage from
we,
their
we,
security cams or
well, the other thing we asked for in the UIPA request where we were very clear about what we asked for. Okay, we asked for body worn camera footage and we wanted continuous. We asked for their phones because in my videos, their body worn cameras are not on,
hmm.
right? But they are holding their cell phones. And if they have cell phones, then they have trophy videos, which is how they're able to upload part of what they're doing onto an app and then make it look like it's purported body worn camera footage. So that's the first evidence that the prosecutor gave. That's manipulated evidence and it's not a true body cam footage. Okay.
Yeah, I could
Right?
see like the mouse moving in that video screen recording where they'd like pulled the timeline forward so you're missing like this much of the video from the
But
beginning. Like what was that
ima-
part, boys and girls?
we're 10 months into this, Andrew. Okay. And the cover up began the day they didn't kill me, right? Because the Mercedes Benz, because I was sitting in it in the taser, and because I believe in God and my ancestors, that's my ancestral lands that I go visit, right? To go get connected with my ancestors. And I was doing ministries work that morning. And oh, they came there and they decided to assault me, kidnap me, human traffic me, and then lie about it and cover up for 10 months. Any family would pretty much submit. We cannot submit to the corruption and the obstruction. They did not give us 100% of discovery. They messed up on Rule 48 because they literally lollygagged in the very beginning. They were not ready with complete discovery for both parties on August 4th and August 8th. We had an emergency hearing for incomplete discovery. What Joe was saying earlier about the motion that was granted that we never even requested because the judge took all of the judicial notices and the motions out of order and decided to rule the way that he wanted.
I see Joe's got his hand up here. Was that on purpose, Joe? You can just jump in anytime, brother.
yeah, I know, but you guys are having such good conversations, and I just figured I'd let you know if I wanted to add in.
Welcome
So,
back.
moving on to that little thing we were talking about body worn cameras as an example. Um, how do you say this? We were able to the body worn cameras they actually provided to us are they're gapped, right? They're now on the reports. All of the officers said their body worn cameras were activated and functioning. They swore this on the oath. He said it was activated and functioning, and yet when you draw up a simple graph, it shows where all the body worn camera gaps were at
Hmm.
from the police officers, and there were numerous ones in here, right? Like, why would one of them turn it off? Why wouldn't one of them never turn them on? Like the girl, Officer Gabriel, never turn hers on. She's engaged from 7:06. Why would you not turn it on until 7:21?
Well, no, she was engaged from 6:57 on my
Right,
videos.
right. On
Then
your
they
video.
and then she doesn't turn it on till 7:21. But they
Right.
all in their police reports in their complaints that they filed against me, they all showed up at dispatch at 7:08 and arrived at 7:05 or something like that.
No, they arrived at 7:08. And that's another issue. The reports are all their timing is not off or is all off on the reports. And That's just a bunch of other things. But the key factor there was you got somebody that was there, supposedly Officer Brown at 7:05, but he turns his video off at 7:10. Then he turns it back on again at 7:23. Why? Why? Why did he turn it off? Why did he turn it back on? Right? Officer Gaber never turns hers on until 7:21. Isn't that interesting? Then Officer Paul Louis turns his on at 7:12, but then shuts it off at 7:45 while he's in the process of transporting her to Queens Hospital. It's these inconsistencies is that we've been looking at. And this is the stuff that the judge and the jury never got to see because the prosecutor lied about what she did. And I'm going to just say it like it is. She lied. Okay. She lied about what she had or didn't have because of the discovery. She said she never got it. And yet here it is. These very same videos are what we were trying to get into evidence so that we could actually defend ourselves in the court of law. Okay. And they prevented it. They obstructed all of that. So you obstructed justice, you lied about it, perjurized yourself, and on top of all that, their body worn cameras were not on like they said they were. And we were trying to get this, right, Andrew? You said it earlier. We were trying to get this from May 12th. We filed the appropriate UIPAs. They said they never got it. And up until the very moment, you're going to love this one. We were supposed to have trial. The original trial date was set for August 12th. And up to the very moment, we still had not received all of the body worn cameras. Up to that moment on August 11th. There's a lot of inconsistencies. The police report took us 71 days to get a police report that we should have gotten 10 days. 71 days. So we had a lot of time to make sure that the story was correct. I'll say it that way. So there's a lot in here, and there's a lot to unwrap. That we're we can only we're just touching on it here. We're not even really getting into these things because if somebody could actually look at it and see it, they would be just like, "What the heck?" You know, the court denied you a counsel. The prosecutor prevented you from showing evidence. Right? The prosecutor lied to the court. Then they turned around and tried to charge us with the time.
Have you
Right? The
guys
time.
been in touch with Judicial Watch or any similar such podcasts or platforms? Or like Austin
No.
Law Group or
No.
Nothing yet.
okay, well, let's see if we can find a way to reach out to some of those guys and get you on their podcasts, which I think reach a bit wider audience.
Yeah, we're open to that, Andrew. We have to hop off real quick because we have to be somewhere shortly.
Mm.
Um, I just want to thank you so very much for hosting this podcast today and allowing us to share. And let's talk next week too. Let's just schedule in next week at the same time. It's Thursday for those people who want to join us. We'll be at Punch Bowl Courthouse, 777 Punch Bowl Street in Honolulu, Hawaii. And
What was the time and day again?
11 o'clock on February 5th.
February 5th, 11 a.m., 777 Punch Bowl Street at the courthouse in Honolulu, Hawaii. You can come and see the judiciary in all of its corrupt splendor and support Joe
Yeah.
and Kale Akana in their fight on the front lines against this present darkness. It truly is a concerted, overlapping system of systems that all scratch each other's backs and put their boot on your neck.
Thank
So,
you, Andrew. We'll
thanks
see you
so
guys
much,
next week.
Kale. Thanks so much, Joe. Thank you so much, Carl.
Thank you, Carl.
Got any
Thank
parting
you,
words,
Joe.
Carl?
No, not nothing specific. Yeah, and we have a lot of problems here in Hawaii, and it's not just the judicial system, but that's how they shut everything down. Actually, this whole time that I've been on the call, I'm designing an incinerator toilet to help fix the system. I'm
So he's
designing it from scratch.
transcending this raw sewage system we call the capital by building
Yeah,
better technologies. And Carl and Clean House Hawaii, how do people get in touch with you? Is it Facebook? Is it x.com? What is the best way?
yeah. They can now. Facebook is the most. It's easier for most. I'm on X also,
Okay.
or you can give me a call. Nobody ever calls me. I don't know why, but 808-478-8682. It's everywhere. It's on all the court cases. It's on the record everywhere. But it's weird. Nobody ever calls.
All right. Check out Carl Dix from Clean House Hawaii with a K. Joe, you got more to add before we
Nope.
log off?
Nope. Just gonna say aloha, everybody. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Andrew, Carl. Thank you, Clay. We definitely got to get jumping here. So love
Yes,
you
sir.
guys.
All right.
Thank you.
You guys go. It is an
Aloha.
honor and aloha. All right. And I've stopped the stream. Thank you so much, Carl, for everything that you're doing, specifically for Joe and Calais, but also for everybody and everything that you do. You are a rare breed, sir.
I guess.
Yep. Well, if not us, then
Yeah,
who? And if not when? Or if not now,
yeah.
then
Well,
when?
yeah. This incinerator toilet. It, Bigger infrastructure is not the answer. It's just bigger failure and more expensive,
Hmm.
and it's not working.
Yeah,
Why do we
composting
wait?
toilet and it's funny, people think that's a funny random topic, but no, the sewer system is a very big deal, and a
In the
lot of
trash?
things connect back to that.
Yeah,
What's
and I'm designing a system. One incinerator in each house can take care of the trash, the inside house trash, the outside house trash, and the sewage all in one spot.
hmm, including like plastics and stuff, or we completely recycle that?
Well, plastics is an issue, and there's other issues. Um, I'm working on the basic system. If they don't put plastics in there, is real easy. But somebody's going to screw up. Yeah, and it's going to go through there. And like for food waste, the garbage disposal in the sink. What I'm designing is canisters that go under your toilet, under your sink, and you take them to a central incinerator in your house, just like taking it out to your garbage can.
Hmm.
And you light it up and you burn it.
Okay.
And I have a little forge here that I use once in a while, and I'm designing it's like a propane, it's like a torch, but way easier. You just and the forge works off from that, and the sewage, the water. The biggest problem is there's so much water. It's so expensive to get it hot and long enough to get rid of the water so that it'll burn. So
Hmm.
I'm designing a filter system where there is no water. There's almost no water moisture contact.
Huh.
And then you just take the canister and where the water drains out the bottom, you plug in the propane torch attachment and you burn it.
Hmm.
And it's and I'm getting there, and I'm working with AI and
I
the
wonder if
suggestions.
like another modality would be to turn the waste into like gasifier fuel. That'd be interesting.
Um, that's a process too. And there again, you're going to have to deal with the moisture.
Yeah. Well, and I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never run a gasifier, but I think that they put like just wood in it, right? Does it have to be super dry wood, or could it just be whatever wood, as long as it can
Well,
smolder, right? Isn't the